Good morning. Welcome back to the Retirement Report. I'm Hank Parrott, your host. We've been talking about estate planning, going to talk about estate planning some more this morning. I mentioned about things with the market. You know, when it comes to having your retirement account set up, your investments, so you're investing in the stock market. We've had, as I mentioned, we're still in the longest bull market in history. But how long is it going to last? How long, over the last 10 years, we've averaged about, those S&P 500 index has averaged 13% a year over the last 10 years. It's pretty amazing. We haven't seen a period like that since the 80s and 90s, the two biggest back-to-back decades in the history of the stock market. So when you're looking at this type of thing and this type of market, you also got to be thinking, okay, all right, just like at the end of the 80s and 90s when we hit that period from 2000 through 2009 when the market actually had a negative return over a 10-year period. Very unusual. Because basically 10-year rolling averages, you're going to, about a 95% chance you're going to have a positive result if you're in the market for 10 years. And this was from 2000 through 2009 was the exception to that rule. How to prepare yourself. Now during that same period, when the market had a negative return, and maybe you were invested through that period, during that same period that the market had a negative return, there were ways, there's 60 years now of Nobel Prize winning academic research showing us how to construct a portfolio. And the model portfolios we use, utilizing, in my practice, we use Vanguard. I love Vanguard funds, very low expenses, and indexing is, they were the creator, if you will, innovator with index funds. And still, we have now lots of choices where we can blend together index funds to help you get a market return, but without the same volatility. And that's the goal, right? How to get the return we're seeking, but with less risk and volatility to help protect us during downturns. And so over that same 10-year period, these market portfolios actually had a positive return, and it ranged, depending on the equity component, it ranged from about 4 to 7% average per year at a time when the S&P was at a negative. So if you'd like to see more about that, as I put out earlier, just be one of the first 10 callers to my office, 615-376-5325, and as a part of that, in addition to the normal things we do, you get a comprehensive financial plan, includes the investment analysis. We'll talk about Social Security and Medicare and tax-efficient investing, as well as tax-efficient income, how to minimize taxes in retirement. You know, when you start taking that money out of those retirement accounts, how to minimize taxes is a big part of that. I deal with that each and every week. We're talking about with clients about how to minimize their taxes. It's a big part of planning. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep, and dealing with that is one of the ways to keep more in your pocket. All right, another part of when you come in, again, as I mentioned, estate planning. That's a big piece of this. If you'd like to get the estate planning piece and meet with Russ at the same time, we can arrange that for you. Again, no charge for the first 10 callers, 615-376-5325. And when you come in to see me, but by the way, when you call, what'll happen is we've got operators standing by, take your call, and then Tess will check in with you. She'll get your information, send you out a checklist of things to bring to your appointment with me. And it's not just a single appointment. We may meet 2-3 times just to make sure we get a plan for you, something that you can really use. All right, 615-376-5325. And when you come in to see me, I'll give you a free copy of my book, 7 Steps to Financial Freedom in Retirement. All right, we're talking about estate planning in particular and how to prepare. As I mentioned, what happens if you don't? We were talking about how to pick the right person, for instance, when it comes to estate planning, whether it's with a trust or your will, powers of attorney. How do you elect that? We can go ahead and get rid of that screenshot. And maybe, there we go. Hi. When you come in to see me, as I said, we do this, the estate planning piece, how to pick the right person. Well, what if, ideally it's family, all right? So hopefully, and in most situations, it's going to go to our children, and there's some real advantages for them of being, some protections and stuff that can be afforded to them. We're going to talk about that in a moment. But first, corporate trustee. If you don't have someone, okay, you don't have a lot of family, and this happens on occasion, or maybe the family is saying, I don't know if they could really handle, the responsibilities that go with being able to manage their own money and taking care of themselves, and we want to protect them So maybe we need a corporate trustee. So how does that work, Russ? What would you recommend, and how does a corporate trustee work over the family?
Well, they're independent, so obviously they're not going to be making decisions that is going to get involved in a lot of emotion, which we do see in the event that a surviving parent dies. There's always the emotion that comes with that, with the kids. And the corporate trustee also, that's their job, to administer estates, administer trusts. So they're going to do it as most efficiently as possible. Yes, they're going to charge for their services, but I feel in the long run you can actually save money, because the process will go a lot smoother, it'll go a lot quicker. You won't have all that anger and angst that could evolve from family dynamics running amok. So that is a good choice. Now, when you do look at corporate trustees, there's really two different types. There are the bank trustees that basically handle the whole thing. They're going to administer the trust and handle the investments. So if you have a good investment advisor that you want to maintain, just know that if you pick a bank, they're probably going to fire all those folks and then take everything in-house. Then there are the independent trustees. Those are the ones that just administer the trust assets. And that also includes a few banks that also recognize that they want to maintain that continuity with the investment advisors. So, choosing the right corporate trustee is also helpful as well. So if you've got people in your life that you've been working with, financial guys or girls, ladies, whatever, sorry, I'm not trying to offend anyone, that have been involved in your life, then you want to go with an independent trustee, because they're going to be the one that'll allow those people to maintain. And that goes to also helping with the transition. If you're maintaining that relationship with your investment advisors, they know a lot about your business, so they can also help the family, they can help the corporate trustee. Even if you pick an individual trustee, if you have a trusted advisor, they're going to be the go-between. They're going to basically make sure that this transition is smooth. So if you don't have, if you don't have a trusted investment advisor, you really need to go out and get one, because that person is going to make this job a whole lot easier.
And this is one of the things when it comes to the investment advisor piece of it, it's a continuity, as Russ was just saying, it's a continuity. So for instance, in the clients we work with, and it's a team approach. We have tax people that we're incorporating into the team, as well as Russ's office, and doing legal work and doing your documents and making sure everything is properly done there. The funding of those documents through my office, we help with that part with our clients, and we do, since I'm meeting with my clients typically at least 2 or 3 times a year, it's an opportunity to always make sure that the estate planning is kept up to date as well. With the so if they sell an asset and buy an asset, that asset is kept in the trust, or beneficiary designations are done as well to make sure that's up to date. If you do all this estate planning and you want to get the biggest benefit from it, having it's important to do the paperwork and the what we call the funding or transferring of assets either into a trust, or keeping your beneficiaries designations up to date to make sure it's going to do what you intend it to do. All right, we're going to take another break. When we come back, I'm going to delve into that a little bit more, because this area of what to do now, we'll talk about some protections, some special laws that have changed over the years. This is another part. If you haven't looked at your estate planning documents in the last 5 to 10 years as an example, there's been some changes that you could really benefit from, and we'll get into that, but first a break. So join us here. We'll be right back on the Retirement Report.